Happy day after tax day, everyone. We have half a month's worth of transactions to categorize now. It is July 16th, so we're going to do that in this video. I got a couple other updates and changes to share before we get into that. And I'm going to work on making these videos a little bit easier for me to edit, not something that you're going to see in the end product, but for my purposes. So we'll see how it goes, but bear with me. There's a change here, and you can probably tell, right? If you can't tell, the nice thing about having recorded everything is that I can just go back and say, this is what it used to look like. There's two things that have changed. One is that I've removed these categories. I've changed the categories. And YNAB has had a GUI update, so now there's this cool black theme that you can use. It's pretty nice. I always like to use the dark themes because when I look at something like this, a white screen, it sometimes feels like I'm looking at a flashlight. You can tell that too in the video. Look, I'm going to get darker now. Okay, so this is what it used to look like, and I was just looking at it. There was a thing, an expense in subscriptions, which was cell phone service, which got me thinking it should be a necessary or important because I find it necessary to have a cell phone subscription, and it's kind of important that I do have that. So I thought, well, it doesn't really make sense that it's in everything else. So in terms of like further simplifying and being more accurate, I decided to just change up the categories a little bit. So now we have a KISS category, which stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid, right? I think you've heard of that before. And then we have a kill box. In the kill box are expenses that I'm going to get to zero. They are going to be zero sooner or later. That's why they're in the kill box, and that's it. That's all that there is, right? So great. It's not really going to change anything in terms of the income statement or anything like that, but that's what we're going to be working with. Okay, so now we can go ahead and just start categorizing the transactions. There's a couple other things that I'm going to go over, but I will do that after I categorize the transactions. So let's go ahead and start with that. We're going to start from the bottom again because I like the way that worked the last time. But let's just look at July here real quick. So far, the activity in the KISS category has been 1735. And in the kill box, we have just under 400. So if we add these up to see how we're tracking for July, we're at 2131 for the month. So with half the month to go, we're going to see how we end up. And then uncategorized transactions, we have quite a lot. And the reason why this is because remember we put some money into the emergency fund, $2,000. So that is flowed out from the realm of daily living into the emergency fund over here. So let's go ahead and start categorizing transactions. So this is Costco, that's groceries. Yes, sir. That's easy. Now we go to this one. And, okay. This is subscriptions. So they bundled in a domain that I purchased as well as the Google Suite that I'm using. So this month the subscriptions is going to be more than it usually is. Next we have credit balance refund. So I'm not sure what this... Oh! Wait, what is this? I'm not sure what this is. The Discover Miles card, I had a positive balance or negative balance on the credit card, right? So I'm not sure what this is. What is this? What have they done here? Honestly, not sure. I guess it's cash back, but it's an expense. So that's something I'm going to look at later. I don't know what that is. Let me look at it now real quick, actually. All right, so I'm not entirely sure what this is. It says credit balance refund of the sale type, but there's no other additional information about it. I did a bit of Googling, and I guess what happens is that after 3 months of carrying a negative balance on a card, then the credit card issuer is supposed to make a good faith attempt to get your money back to you. So I don't know. I don't know what this is, what this should be. I'm just going to put it in cash back for now. And if I don't know how I'm going to get the money back. Maybe I get it in the mail. Maybe it goes back into the checking account. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But for now, I'm actually just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it as no category so that I remember to come back to that and look into that and maybe contact Discover if that's what I need to do. You know what's funny though is that I set up the Discover card to be charged something next month. So if they had just left that there, then that would have gone away into, would have been used as credit for the purchase. But it's funny how that works, right? Murphy's Law is at work here as well. All right, so now we have this card, and this is the card that I use for a lot of my work expenses. So most of it is just going to be transfers into reimbursable accounts. This is an automatic payment. This still is a transfer from the staging account. Okay, this. So as I've been incurring these work expenses, I've just been categorizing them as they come up on the mobile app. That way I don't forget. This is a refund as well. So this is a payment from the reimbursable category. Okay, this is also a transfer from there. And this as well is also a transfer from there. So pretty much everything on here is a transfer into the reimbursable expense account. I literally have not been using this card for anything else other than work transactions. Okay, Chase SR. Okay, so we got the automatic payment, which is of course a transfer payment from the staging account. We have purchase interest charge, which is in the kill box. YNAB did that automatically. Thank you. And the fast track refund. That's what I got back from the going and asking Fast Track if they could free up some of my funds on there. So I'm going to put that into the card category. Because the money originally came out from the card category into the Fast Track account. So when it comes back out, it's going to go back into the car category. Why not? Okay, so next we have purchase interest charge. And you might be wondering why there's a purchase interest charge after we paid off the card in full. And that is because, if we remember, go back to the video on how credit cards work. Credit cards charge you interest on the average daily balance of the card. So before we paid this amount, there was a balance of this amount on the card. And that amount was accruing interest. That amount was accruing interest, right? Because that was still a carried amount. So a month after, right, the last statement closing still had some accruing interest in it. So we got $6 worth of interest that we got to pay on this card. So it's not a mistake. The first time I had this happen to me, I thought it was an error. I thought it was like, wait a minute, I paid it all off in full. Why am I still getting charged interest? That's just how credit cards work. There's a trailing thing. So this could be dangerous, right? If you do this and if you're still in the old world of paying things off manually, if you do this and you say, oh, I'm done with this card, cut it up and throw it away, and you don't pay attention to it, this could cause you to get a late payment, right? And that's another $30 or whatever. But since we have this now changed to auto pay the statement balance, this is not something that we got to worry about at all. Go to the next one, Chase Amazon. Okay, so this was the notebook that I bought. So the notebook is going to be other. And we'll just write a little memo for what it is. Notebook. And this is not a transfer to reimbursable expenses. This was a charge on Amazon. And good thing I remember that. It was health. It wasn't supplements. Okay. And then we have the payment. All right. And the payment is a transfer from the staging account. And that wraps up that account. Now we have this account. So we have the subscriptions, both of these. We're going to bulk approve them. Okay. And then we have cloud storage, which is also a subscription. And then we have the payment, which is a transfer from the staging account. And that balance is 0 still. All right. Nothing on these 3 cards This card has a, this is a water filter that I got. So funny story on that. I called the company for some reason to ask them, hey, when should I change my water filter? It's been about a year and a half. I've had it installed for a while. And the guy on the phone was like, oh yeah, that's about right. And if you did want to change them right now, we're actually having a 20% off sale. So everything that you get is going to be 20% off. So instead of $220, you're only going to pay $177.20. So I thought, okay, well, you got me. I'm going to just buy them now, I guess. So I ended up buying them now. But of course, I'm sure that they always have a sale because they always want people to buy. So they're always going to be 20% off. So, all right. Okay. I guess that's what happens. That's what happens. But now I have water filters. Of course, it might have been better to say, no, I'm not going to do that right now and wait for it to happen later on. Technically, it would have been better in terms of paying off the cars, but that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Had I gone back to that time and been, in that situation again, I probably would have said, I'll wait on that for a little bit longer. You're always going to have a sale, aren't you? But this is a financial mirror. This is part of that. You can't change what happened. You can only see what happened. And that's the nice thing about this budget or a budgeting system, right? You see what happened and then you're like, oh, let me think about that. What happened in that situation? Why is that charge here, right? Don't get all upset about it. Don't hate yourself. Don't think, oh man, I'm going to be so far behind on my goals now. It's $177 I could have put into investments or a credit or something or other, right? Don't do that. Just look at it and be like, oh, this happened. Give it a category, health, I guess, and approve it. Okay, and then we go to the next one, AmexHH3. Okay, this is also supplements. This was a big supplements buying month. In-N-Out Burger, this was a work lunch. $5.20 on this. I remember what this is for. This was from a hardware store. And the category was something that I got from my desk. I didn't know what those things were called. They're like wire management things where it's a little clip and then you put the wires inside and then you clip them shut, right? So I did some reorganizing. You can probably tell that my background is a little different. You can't see the IKEA shelf that I had before. Now you can see my wall in the door. So I did some reorganizing and some, I moved my desk and I cleaned up the wires a little bit. So I went to go to the hardware store to buy some quick clips. Quick clips, that's what they're called. So yeah, everything looks a lot nicer now. So that's a category of other. It's a category of other. All right, cool. And all right, now we go to this one. So interest charge on purchases, 5 cents. Okay, so that goes into the kill box. And this goes into the kill box as well, but it's already in the kill box, automatically in the kill box. Promotional balances and purchases. I wonder why they're different. Okay, renewal membership. This is the membership fee of the card. So, what is this going to be? It's not in the kill box because it's, it's not interest, but it's actually the annual fee of the card. So we're just going to put that into, well, that's a subscription actually because I am subscribed to the card. All right, so this should be pretty simple. We just got to go and approve all these things because this is all the reimbursable expenses I incurred on behalf of work. And now let's go into staging and do the last one here. I'm just going to approve all the linked transactions first, so we have those out of the way. We're going to do these ones. All right, so Vanguard buy investment. That's going to be in the category of cash flow tracking investing. Astra Inc. Okay, so this is the money that went into the emergency fund. Okay, so that's going to go in cash flow tracking as well, right? But it doesn't really fit into goods sold, doesn't really fit into investing or in cashback. So we're going to put a new category name and we're going to call it saving. And that's going to go into cash flow tracking. And this is to emergency fund. And we did two of them, remember, because Astra could not do more than $1,000 worth of transfers at once, so that's what happened there. And oh yeah, by the way, this is new. I realize that you have not seen this goods sold thing here before. I'll get to that in just a second. Okay, so here's my paycheck from the beginning of the month, inflow to be budgeted. And there is the transfer that happened, which was the transfer from reimbursable expenses that occurred, right? So we're just going to approve that. And we see the link transaction over here, right there, of the same amount coming into staging, okay? All right, so this is insurance, and this is another work lunch. All right, I'm going to go into cash here real quick, because the way that I've been doing cash transactions is just recording them as they occur, because otherwise I would forget, and I would just have to go off of how much I had, and I don't know what the category would be, or even remember what I spent money on. There was something that I sold, and this is what I really want to talk about here, is I sold something on OfferUp. All right, and of course there was an inflow of cash from that. But if we look at categories, it's not really any of these categories. I mean, you could argue it could be other, because getting the money back from Fast Track was, I put that in the card category. You know, when I bought these things, it could be, you know, it could be in the furniture category, which is other, for example. So I could put it in other again, but I don't really want to do that, because goods sold is kind of like a catch-all category for other things. I don't want to put it as inflow to be budgeted again, because it's not a taxable income type thing, because I bought it at some point and then I'm selling it again, so it's not really a goods, or it's not really a taxable income type thing. So when I sell my car, for example, I could put that in the car category, but that's going to come into goods sold, because it's not a taxable event. And it kind of doesn't really make sense to call that a car transaction, even though it is selling my car, right? For now, I think I'm just going to put it in the goods sold category, okay? And everything else is basically, yeah, I've just been keeping track of it as it occurs. All right, so now we're all set for the first half of July. So let's go and see how we're doing. We're already at around 24, just under 2,500, very close to where we were last month. So I want to do something real quick here, make a few more changes before we go. And that is to go to the cash flow statement and add a savings ledger, actually. So here we are in the cash flow statement. So the way that this is going to work basically is that the income statement is going to be how much, we're using that to find out what our net income is. And then the cash flow statement is going to be where we allocate the money. We decide where it's going to go, right? So we have the money coming in from net income, new debt, and other sources. We're going to be adding goods sold here in just a second. Okay, and then for outflows, we have basically debt payments and 2 investments. And now we're also going to be I'm going to add 2 savings. And right now the cash flow is negative, which means that the balances, my total cash balances, are actually going down. And it's going to be like that for a while until things kind of even out a little bit, because there's money that I have sitting in my checking account that I'm going to want to deploy, right? That's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm probably going to be doing again this month. I was looking at this too as well, and thinking ahead a little bit about other savings goals that I'm going to have, right? I'm going to have other savings goals other than just the emergency fund. So I'm going to want to prepare for those and also simplify them a whole lot more, so it's not like I need to open another account for, if I want to save for a house down payment or something like that, or a new computer. I don't want to open another savings account just to save for that goal. So what I'm going to do is essentially create a new realm here. And this is going to be the realm of saving. All right. And everything that I save for, I'm just going to use the same account. I'm not going to, the Ally account that I have, I'm going to rename it to like savings account or something like that. But that's what it's going to look like, right? And the emergency fund is going to be a component. The emergency fund is going to be a component of the realm of savings. So when I go over here, I'm going to add this to savings thing, and now I'm also going to add a savings ledger. And on the savings ledger, I'm going to write down the things that I'm going to be saving for. So why not I put like Ally savings account? And inside the Ally savings account, I have a emergency fund. And the emergency fund currently has $2,000 in it. Actually, let's add July right now and do a live example. All right, so this is in July, right? We're going to add, basically what happened in July was $2,000 went to savings, and that $2,000 went into the emergency fund right there. So that's how it's going to work in the future. The number that I put here, or, well, basically it's going to be put here, right, is going to go into the line item down here. And that's what we're going to use to save for different things. Okay, so yeah, that's a little sneak preview about what's coming up in the near future. And the last thing that I'm going to do to make this more consistent is that instead of just tracking the actual like balance of the emergency fund and everything like that, this is just going to be tracking the account. So for that, we're going to have the Ally savings account in there as one line item. And you know, because this is a net worth tracker, a balance sheet. It's not supposed to tell us like where we have all our money. That's what the savings ledger is supposed to be. This is more useful than a balance sheet. And if I'm like going to make a decision, right? Like if I say, oh, I want to buy a new computer, and I look at this and I say, well, I haven't made an entry for the savings ledger and I haven't been saving for it. I guess I got to do that. I got to put that in as a goal or something like that, right? And then as I have positive cash flow, or as I have positive net income, then I can cash flow stuff onto this ledger, right? And that's how I can save up for goals. So that's what's gonna come. That's what's coming soon. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. I wonder how long it's turned out to be. We'll find out soon then. Okay, bye-bye.